very quickly just check the sound, just to make sure that you can all hear me. So just bear with for a mo, and then we'll get going on. Okay, that all sounds good. Fabulous. So, live number 2. First off, just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who joined me for live number 1 a couple of weeks ago. It went way better than expected, so thank you so much for that. Today we're actually going to be looking at wrapping one of these 2 beautiful gold flash plume agate doublets, which are absolutely stunning. So you can see they've got a really nice sort of flash on them, sort of like a really goldy colour. Really pretty. I think we're going to do the bigger one, to be honest with you. So I'm going to just pop that over there for a minute. So yeah, I just want to take a second. Thank you all for being here and for joining me, whether you're watching live or in the replay. Always lovely to have you all here. So, okay, it's just gone 7:30, so I think it's time to just get cracking, isn't it? Okay, so we are using a square copper wire. So this is a 0.8mm square copper, which is from Metal Clays for You. So again, as I said last time and in many of my videos, if you're in the UK, this is really lovely wire. We're also going to be using a half round from Rio Grande, which I'm running out of. So that's a 0.4mm. I've got a little bit of a design in my head. I'll just move these out of the way. I just thought I'd put these here for a second, give you some design ideas. So yeah, I'll just throw them to one side for a second. I've got, yeah, like I was saying, I've got a bit of a design in my head that I want to try and achieve with this one. I'm going to let it try and evolve on its own as well, but we will see where we go. I'm just going to put them out of shot so my camera doesn't keep trying to autofocus. Okay, so the square copper wire, we've got 4 lengths, about 10 inches, about 10 inches each. And we're just going to bind them together nice and simply with the half round wire. So we're just going to hold all 4 and bring them around. So let me know in the comments where you are, where you're watching from. If you're wrapping along with us, that'd be great to know. If you are, what stone are you wrapping? Yeah, just a bit of interaction. I will try and keep my eye on the comments as I'm doing this, just so I can see what's going on. Obviously, it can be a little bit tricky looking at comments and the wrap. So once I get a little bit into that, I'm just going to flatten this off, binding it all up nice and tidily. I'm just smushing it all together. And I'm going to apologise now if my voice sounds a little bit croaky. I have got a little bit of a sore throat, but it's more from talking so much at work recently. So, hello, it's Wagner 641. How are you today? Thank you for being here. So yeah, I apologise if my voice sounds a little bit croaky today. Okay, so I'm just going to trim off that bit of excess and then just tidy up all the ends on here. So one of the things I got asked, I was at an event over the weekend, a big sort of fair with all of the pendants, and one of the things that I got asked was Like, what do I do with all the bits that I cut off my pendants? The answer is I've actually got like a little miniature recycling bin on my work, work workbench. And whenever I cut a piece off, no matter how big or small, I pop it in there. And then if I can, I try and reuse those bits later on. So I try not to waste too much. Obviously the piece that one of the pieces I've just cut off, I can use for sort of binding something later. So hopefully that will come in useful. Right then, so I'm going to go, let's have a look at the stone. Let's just see which way it's got the best flash. I think point down on this one. You see it's got this really nice sort of reddy goldy colour coming down here. And I think on this one, at certain angles you pick up a very, very small hint of sort of like a purpley colour as well. But we're going more for the sort of goldy colour. It's coming into summer, and we're going for like a warm look. Okay, so I'm just going to pinch hold here and just bend those wires, so we get like a bit of a point at the bottom. I don't worry too much if they are symmetrical, so they look pretty even going across there, but if they're not, then I will typically just sort of unravel one bit, maybe a couple of wraps on that half round. Hello, Natalie Garcia. Okay, so once we've got that point on the wires, we can bring our stone in, and we just want it to sit centrally in here. Now, if you've used these plumes, so they're doublets, so they've got a backing on them, one thing you might notice is they've actually got like a bit of a sort of angled in, sort of, it's hard to show on the camera. I'm trying to get an angle where you can see it. So you can see it kind of, the front of the stone is actually bigger than the back. So when you're trying to line it up into your wires, it wants to sort of slide forwards a little bit. So where I would normally just sort of hold here and then push, I'm having to hold at the bottom as well to try and make sure it stays within those wires. So I'm just gonna pop it in there, and then just gently with my finger and thumb just bring those wires in. Try not to cross them over too much, and then just get that shape sort of going into the top there. It doesn't matter if there's space at the bottom of the stone, not at this point anyway. And then we're going to just build a little ledge on the back. So taking my flat nose pliers, I'm just going to do like a little kick on one side and then on the other side. Okay, so you can just see there, it doesn't matter again, doesn't matter if they're equal. If you want to be, if you want to be precise, you can make them equal, but just so long as there is enough of a ledge there for the stone to then sit on top. So that's obviously going to hold the stone in from the back. We can then start to bring these wires in a bit more and just find the point where you want the bail to be. So I'm just looking at that. I want to try and make it as central as I can. And that looks pretty alright to me. So I'm just going to pop the stone out, hold these wires. So we want them to sit flush next to each other. So you can see they're all sat next to each other. Grab where we want the bail to start to kink up and then bend. So we get a little bit of a kick. And then just double check where we're at. Just make sure it is in the center. And then we can line up on the other side and just do the same. So just holding the wires, giving it a kick. And then hopefully the wires will meet the stone. Will just sit nicely in there. Voila! So we're starting to get that frame shape. Now I'm just going to get myself another bit of half round. So I'm going to cut this bit off the spool. So I want quite a long length here because this is when I'm going to start to do the bail. I am going to do a simple bail again on this one because I just want to keep the stone a big part of that sort of centre, you know, so a big part of the you know, the focal point of the pendant because it is such a lovely stone. So before we start wrapping, we just want to make sure that all of our wires are sitting flush. So we've got a little bit of out of orderness going on here, so we just want to bring that one back, like so. And then check on that side. Yep, so we're all good there. And then all I do with this bit is I just try and hold the stone in place. Get my half round, make sure that the flat side is down and against the actual wires that I'm wrapping around. And then I just do a few wraps. Now because this is quite a long piece, I'm going to keep knocking into things, but we'll just go around a handful of times just to bind those wires together. And then move it to one side and grab our flat nose pliers and squish, squish, and squish. So we're just going to then bring, so we've got a little tail here. I'm going to just bring it round, add one more wrap, give it a good squish, and then chain those pliers. Just going to wrap around this back wire. So where this back wire that we've kinked, we're just going to pull that in and around. I'm just going to do a few. And as I always say on my videos, this is purely functional, so it's just tying off the end of this wire. We don't need loose ends and things just rubbing around. We don't want to sort of obviously have the wire end catching when it's someone's wearing it. Okay, so if I just pull that wire out, oh, got a wiggly one, and then pop that stone back in. And this is where we can now sort of look at securing that stone. So we can bring our fingernail in and give that little wire a bit of a kick. Same on the other side. Just give yourself a little bit of space. Bring that wire in, give it a little bit of a kick, and then just pressing down into the stone. So then you can see you've just got like a bit of a frame. And a little bit uneven, but we can fix that. There we go. So yeah, so we just, now the stone is fixed, it's secure, it's not moving, which is great, it's what we want. But it allows us a bit more freedom now for actually sort of working on these top wires. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring wires, front wire 1 and 2. So they're just the two frontmost wires. I'm just going to pull them forwards. And then we're going to have 3 wires to the left. And again, just make sure that they are the right order, because if they are the right order, it does make it a lot easier when you're actually sort of coming in to design the wires, do the decorations. Okay, so simple bail, we'll just whiz up this nice and quickly. So you're just going to bring that half round around until you've got enough to create your bail. One of my tricks for trying, I know every time I say this it twists, so one of my tricks for not twisting the half round wire is to have it held between my thumb and my finger. So as I'm twisting the pendant, the wire is kind of pulling through. It just allows me to feel any kinks or bends or twists in the wire before it gets to the actual pendant, obviously half round, once it does twist, if you don't notice quick enough, you can end up having to unravel the whole thing, which is very annoying. But yeah, if you can keep it sort of untwisted all the way up, it will have a much cleaner finish. That looks like it's quite a nice high bow. Okay, so we grab our flat nose pliers and we just smush all the way down and just create like a really nice flat wrap all the way up, just like so. So we've got quite a long tail on here at the moment, so there will be a little bit of cut off here. But yeah, we'll save that for when we are doing a little bit more towards the end maybe. Okay, so bail making pliers. Decide which size you want to go for. Grab hold where you want it to bend over and then just press it around, bringing it around to the back and then lining it up. So you can see the wires are ending roughly where the right wires are there as well, so it all ends up tying in quite nicely. There we go. So with this tail, we're just going to go around, so we're coming from here all the way around the front of the bail neck, and again just twisting the pendant rather than the wire, and just get that nice smooth bail. So if bails are an area of difficulty for you, then there is a tutorial on my page on how to create strong bails. Basically it's this technique that I use. There are other options. This is one I use definitely when I'm doing a simple bail. Oops. So we've just trimmed a little bit off the end there, and I'm just going to secure this around these two wires here. So I'm going to grab my pliers and I'm just going to scooch that around and then just put it up nice and tight like so. I'm going to go around a few times again just to tie off the end of the wire. We don't want loose ends, certainly not where the pendant's going to be against skin and clothes, because if they catch on the clothes then it could A, pull the clothes, B, pull the wire. We don't want either. Okay, so then we're going to smush that one off, pop that into the recycling bin, and then just to tie it all off and finish it there, so you can see the pendant's taking form, is I'm just going to go in with my flat nose pliers and just smush everything in so it's all nice and straight, and just check that the bail is straight, which does look like it is. So here we've got basically we've got the frame built and the bail. We've got our decorative wires here, and then we've got the back of our bail wires. With this one, I'm actually going to pull both around to one side. When I do this, I would typically hold this part of the bail with my flat nose pliers just so it doesn't misshape as I'm pulling the wires around. I'm going to put them both across the front like so. And then do I have enough wire? Oh, it could be a bit tight this one, but I'm gonna go for it. So I'm going to do a swirl just with these two wires, keeping it nice and tidy and tight, slightly off center, so it's just pulling to one side, and then these two wires are just going to come around to the back here. And then with my flat nose pliers, I'm just going to trim them off, pop them in my recycling box. They probably won't get used, there's not much left of them, but it's better than having bits of wire lying around. And then all I'm going to do is just with my chain nose pliers, I'm just going to pull those ends around and just tuck them in to the inside of the pendant, so it just locks those wires into place. And that's the first bit there. Okay, so we're getting into the fun bit. Right, so let's just have a go. Right, so what I'm going to do is it's not going to be symmetrical, and if you've watched my videos before, then you'll know that my designs are rarely symmetrical. I just think that you should let them evolve and do what they want to do and be what they want to be. This one is based on another pendant that I did, also with this stone, but in silver. And we'll see how it goes. So what we're going to do is we're going to have three, like a fan style on this side, and then a swoop on this side. Okay, so we'll see how this goes, and I'm just debating whether or not to put some twists on some of these because I think it might look quite nice. Maybe on the middle one. So I'm getting out my trusty Twizzler, just putting the end of the wire in, and then we're just going to turn, and you can see that it's putting like this twist detail into that wire. Just adds a little bit of texture to the pendant, which is quite nice. So you can see there it's got like this nice twisted effect. Okay, so let's see what happens. So I'm going to go the back wire first. And I'm going to do the biggest loop with that one, then the middle twisted wire as the middle one, and the frontmost wire as the short one. So when I do a fan effect, this is basically what we're doing. So we have one, and I'll just use my finger to gently tease that wire around to the shape I want it to be, like so. And the last one, each one being a little bit lower than the last, and then they all come together at that point. And you can get your flat nose pliers in there if you need to, just to pinch it all into place. And then these are just going to come and hook around the back of the pendant. So I'm going to pinch what we've just done quite hard because I don't want them to sort of misshape and move. And then we're just going to, same technique, just grabbing the end, hooking it around, and just squeezing that end in. I'm just going to move these two out of the way, do them one at a time. So we're just going to give that a squeeze. Sorry, my hand's in the way of the camera. There's one. There is two. The third one just sits there. Once they're all in, you can give them all a bit of a smush. So you can see they've all just hooked in, and we've got them there like that. So there we go, so far. A very one-sided pendant. Okay, so I bought some beads and things along with me. I'm not sure if I'm going to use them, but I thought I would just bring them along anyway. But yeah, let's see where this all funness goes. Right, so we're going to go with, I'm not going to twist one on this side. I think I'm going to keep them straight. But what I am going to do is I'm just going to trim here. So what you can see is the front. We want to make sure there's no ends poking out. So we just trim them off and just pinch them in. It's quite tricky to get in there with the pliers. There we go. Right. So then front wire, just give it a bit of a squish, is gonna swoop out to the side like so. Okay. Let's see. This is where I'm debating. Let's see how it looks with some beads on. I've got two different types of beads in here, so I'm just trying to make sure I get all the right ones. So what you can do is start to load those beads on. And just build them up. That's a big one. I don't want a big one. Then we're just going to keep adding those beads. You could put a big one on there, to be fair. You could put one in the middle. Make it more of a focal bead. So we could go, let's have a look. This is one of the things I like about allowing designs to evolve, is you can just play, and if you don't like it, take it off. I don't like it, so I'm going to take it. So we'll just carry on with the other size. And hopefully I've got enough in my little dish. I had my nails done yesterday and they're a little bit too long. Can you tell? So you can see the beads are now starting to build into that curve. It just adds a little nice bit of detail. This one's going to stay in bare copper. It's not going to be oxidized. It's a different type of bead. That one. And that one. And okay, I think we're going to go one more. Have I got one more? Is there one more? Oh, go on, I've got one more. Yeah, so you can kind of just allow designs to evolve, play with them, have a bit of fun with things, and just let them be what they want to be, rather than always having like a really set design. There's got to be one more of those in there. Yeah, there we go. There we are. So then that bead's going to sit just at the base, so you can see it's come just to the base of that swirl, and then it's going to come around behind. Now ordinarily I would attach all of these at the end at the same time, but because we've got beads on this one, I'm going to do it straight away, because then the beads won't all flick about. And what I'm going to do for this one is I'm just going to lift this back wire, pull it up a little bit, give myself some space, and then curve it gently around and down. Chantel Cohen, hey, thanks for joining us. Say hi in the comments if you're here. Let me know where you're from. Are you making along? Okay, and then I'm just going to smush that end down into the back of the stone like so. Okay, so we've got detail one. Now, I actually think I might twist one. I just think it'll add a little bit of dimension. So we'll go for the middle one again. Just put my Twizzler on. So of you, those of you who are watching, are you wire wrappers? Are you learning, practicing, or are you seasoned pros and just watching along for the interest? Okay, so we're just going to again go smush it around, squeeze that in, snip off the end, and then pull that wire around and give it a smush. So then we've got 2 wires coming off and around. And then our third wire, I have an idea for. I don't know if it's going to work, but we'll try. So it's going to come a little bit taller at the front, so on top, a bit of space. And then, let's see if we can attach. So like I say, we're going for like the warmth of summer. We've got that lovely gold colour stone, and I have these really cute little butterflies, which I just think add a little touch. Actually, I'm going to move him. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put him somewhere else on the pendant. So I'm just going to attach this back wire, bring it underneath, smushing it around, giving it a squish. Pop that in there. And then giving that back wire a bit of a squeeze there. Right, so we've got all of our decorative wires attached. Just smoothing things out. Okay, so you could stop there. That would be absolutely fine. And you can embellish a little bit more, which I'm just going to have a look and see if I can do. Because I just think that this butterfly would look really cute here. I'm going to tuck him, so you can see tucking him in under there. And then I'm just going to guide these fan wires out to their place. So when I'm doing fan wires, I kind of hold the front of the curve and just twist it forwards and out. And just keep teasing it and adjusting it until I'm happy with where it sits. And you can kind of see that it just has that little fan effect. Now for my little butterfly, I'm going to take a piece of this half round that I cut off earlier. So with these butterflies, they're really cute. They've got this little eye at the top. So I'm going to thread my half round through. Bring it around behind the wing. And then put it through a bit. Now it will move and we can adjust. So let's just put him back where I want him. Maybe there. And then I'm going to attach him by wrapping him around the fan. So to one side, I'm just going to wrap him in here. going down behind the wing. And just keep basically attaching him to some of the wires on the pendant. So I'm sorry if you can't see much at the moment. I'm trying to hold him in place whilst wrapping. And let's go one last little wrap. And that's there. Now give them a bit of a smush just to hold it all in place. And then I'm gonna, so we don't unravel, I'm just going to take him around one of these fan wires just once or twice, just to lock off the end there. And I'm going to readjust the fan wires once I've done this because they have moved a little bit, which is fine. And I'm just going to trim off that bit. So you can see he's just sitting in there. And then this bit I'm going to bring in, and I'm actually going to attach him to the back of the bow. So I'm just going to feed that wire through like so. Put it down and just do a couple. Like so. And then that just blends into the back of the bow, and we can cut that wire off nice and flush and get rid. And then our final little touch is just to readjust these fan wires. Check we're happy with where they are. Pull that bottom one out a bit more. And you have a summer inspired plume agate butterfly pendant, which will stay in bare copper. Just get my fingerprints off it. Like so. So we've still got that flash of the plume. You can still see pretty much the whole stone. But then we've got like this fan, butterfly, beads, twists. We've got a lot of different, a lot of different touches in there. You could obviously hide this bit, but yeah, there you go. Try and get that flash in there. Such a lovely stone. So there's that. So earlier I had a couple of different pendants out here. So we had our Mad Crazy Aurora Opal pendant, which is amazing. We had a turquoise. And golden healer quartz. So there you go. So if you follow along, if you've made this one, or if you've enjoyed this video, then drop a comment, say hi, ask questions, like, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next live in a couple of weeks. Actually, no, I won't. So, question for all of you. Would you prefer to have a live next week, next Wednesday, or one in 3 weeks' time? Let me know in the comments and I will get that arranged for you. But as for now, enjoy making this one. Take care, guys, and I'll see you all soon.